Few figures in modern history have had as profound an impact on the political landscape of Europe as Otto von Bismarck. Known as the Iron Chancellor, Bismarck's skillful use of diplomacy, military strategy, and ruthless political maneuvering not only unified a fragmented collection of German states into a powerful empire but also reshaped the balance of power in Europe for decades to come. Today, we journey back to the turbulent 19th century to explore the life and legacy of a man whose vision and determination forever changed the course of history. If you love uncovering the stories behind the leaders who changed our world, be sure to subscribe to History Facts and Mysteries and hit the notification bell so you never miss another deep dive into the past. Now, let's step into the world of Otto von Bismarck. Born into a noble Junker family in Schönhausen near Berlin in 1815, Otto von Bismarck grew up in a society defined by tradition and hierarchy. His early years were marked by the discipline and rigor expected of the Prussian aristocracy. While many of his peers pursued careers in the military, Bismarck's keen mind led him toward law and administration. His education at the University of Göttingen and later in Berlin provided him with a solid foundation in legal principles and political theory. Even at a young age, Bismarck demonstrated a remarkable ability to analyze complex problems and navigate the intricate dynamics of power. The early 19th century in Prussia was a time of both promise and turmoil. Amid rapid industrialization and the stirrings of modernity, traditional structures were beginning to strain under the pressures of economic and social change. Bismarck's formative years coincided with these changes, and it is likely that they influenced his later commitment to consolidating and modernizing the state. As he embarked on a career in diplomacy, his early assignments provided him with first-hand experience of European politics. In 1862, King Wilhelm I appointed Bismarck as Minister-President and Foreign Minister of Prussia. At the time, Prussia was embroiled in domestic turmoil and facing the challenge of modernizing its military and administrative institutions. Bismarck's appointment marked the beginning of a dramatic transformation in Prussian, and later German, politics. His primary goal was to strengthen the state by centralizing power and unifying the German-speaking lands, which had long been divided into various independent kingdoms and principalities. Bismarck was a master of Realpolitik, a pragmatic approach to politics that prioritizes practical outcomes over ideological purity. He believed that history was determined not by lofty ideals but by the effective exercise of power. With this philosophy in mind, Bismarck set about achieving his vision through a series of carefully orchestrated military campaigns and diplomatic maneuvers. One of his first major challenges was the Danish War of 1864, which pitted Prussia and Austria against Denmark over the territories of Schleswig and Holstein. Though the conflict was relatively short, it marked the first step in a series of wars that would eventually lead to German unification. The Danish War was followed by the Austro-Prussian War in 1866. Bismarck, ever the strategist, skillfully isolated Austria by forging alliances and neutralizing potential enemies. His decisive victory at the Battle of Königgrätz, Sadowa, not only broke the power of the Austrian Empire in Germany but also led to the establishment of the North German Confederation under Prussian leadership. This victory was a turning point. It demonstrated that a unified Germany was within reach and set the stage for the next phase of Bismarck's grand design. In 1870, Bismarck turned his attention to the long-standing rivalry with France. Through deft diplomatic manipulation, most notably by editing the Ems dispatch to inflame French public opinion, Bismarck incited the Franco-Prussian War. The ensuing conflict was a masterpiece of modern warfare. The Prussian army, with its well-organized structure and innovative tactics, achieved a series of rapid victories. The culmination of the war came with the decisive Battle of Sedan, where Emperor Napoleon III was captured. The French defeat was so complete that in 1871, the German states were unified under King Wilhelm I, who was proclaimed German Emperor in the Hall of Mirrors at Versailles. Bismarck's success in unifying Germany was not merely a triumph of military might. It was also a triumph of administrative genius. As the architect of the new German state, Bismarck implemented sweeping reforms that modernized the nation. He reorganized the bureaucracy, centralized power, and introduced policies that promoted industrial growth and infrastructure development. The economic modernization that followed helped transform Germany from a collection of disparate states into one of Europe's leading industrial powers. Through his pragmatic policies, Bismarck laid the foundation for a state that could compete with the great powers of the world. Yet, Bismarck's domestic policies were not without controversy. He embarked on a series of social reforms that aimed to consolidate his power and maintain internal stability. One of the most significant was his approach to the rising socialist movement. Recognizing that the working class was becoming increasingly discontented, Bismarck introduced pioneering social welfare measures, such as health insurance, accident insurance, and old age pensions. These reforms were designed to undercut socialist appeals by addressing workers' needs directly through state intervention. Simultaneously, however, he passed the anti-socialist laws, which banned socialist organizations and publications. This dual approach was designed to neutralize the threat of socialism while simultaneously integrating the working class into the state's framework. Though his methods were harsh, they set a precedent for modern welfare states in Europe. Internationally, Bismarck's diplomacy was as innovative as it was cautious. After unifying Germany, he recognized that the sudden rise of a powerful new state could destabilize the European balance of power. To prevent future conflicts, Bismarck constructed a complex network of alliances designed to isolate France and maintain peace in Europe. He forged alliances with Austria-Hungary and Russia, creating the Three Emperors League, and later negotiated with Italy and other powers. His diplomatic efforts earned him a reputation as one of the most skillful statesmen of his era, and his methods became the subject of study for generations of diplomats. Despite his successes, Bismarck's cautious approach eventually came undone with the ascension of a new generation, when Emperor Wilhelm II dismissed him in 1890, leading to a more aggressive German foreign policy that would later contribute to the outbreak of World War I. Bismarck's legacy, however, extends far beyond his political and military achievements. His impact on German society and on the international order was profound. The very concept of unification under a centralized state was a revolutionary idea that reshaped the map of Europe. His methods of using Realpolitik, a pragmatic, sometimes ruthless approach to politics, set a benchmark for political leadership that influenced not only Germany but also numerous other nations. As a statesman, Bismarck was also a master of propaganda and public relations. He skillfully managed his image, presenting himself as the indispensable servant of the state who had saved Germany from disunion and chaos. Portraits, speeches, and carefully crafted public communications reinforced the notion that his leadership was synonymous with progress and stability. Bismarck's influence was not limited to his own lifetime. His policies and strategies continued to shape the course of European history well into the 20th century. The alliances he forged and the state structures he established played a critical role in the complex web of international relations that ultimately led to both world wars. While successors would take Germany in different directions, Bismarck's vision of a strong, centralized state continued to be a reference point for debates on national unity and governance. It is important to recognize that Bismarck's legacy is not without its dark sides. His methods, often ruthless and uncompromising, left a bitter taste in the mouths of many who suffered under his regime. The anti-socialist laws, for example, suppressed dissent and curtailed the rights of workers and intellectuals. The purges within his political circle and his willingness to use military force to achieve his objectives remind us that the path to unification and progress can be paved with suffering. The story of Otto von Bismarck is one of transformation, a narrative that encapsulates the transition from a collection of feudal states to a unified, modern nation. His leadership during a time of immense change required both visionary thinking and a willingness to embrace harsh realities. Bismarck understood that to build a nation capable of standing alongside the great powers of Europe, it was necessary to modernize not only the economy but also the political system. His introduction of social reforms and his efforts to integrate diverse social groups into a single national framework were revolutionary for their time, even if they came at a high human cost. Bismarck's contributions to the development of the modern state cannot be overstated. He not only unified Germany but also set the stage for a new era of industrialization and economic growth. His 5-year plans, though not as detailed as those of later governments, established the principle that state-directed economic policies could transform a nation. On the international stage, Bismarck's diplomatic achievements were equally impressive. He recognized that the strength of a nation lies not only in its military might but also in its ability to forge lasting alliances. Through a complex network of treaties and diplomatic maneuvers, he managed to secure Germany's position in a Europe fraught with tension. His ability to maintain a delicate balance of power among the great empires of his time is a subject of study even today, serving as a reminder that diplomacy, when wielded skillfully, can be as powerful as warfare. The influence of Bismarck's leadership extends to the realm of political theory as well. His concept of Realpolitik, an approach to politics based on practical objectives rather than ideological purity, has become a cornerstone of modern political thought. Leaders and policymakers around the world continue to study his methods, drawing lessons from his ability to balance ambition with pragmatism. Bismarck's legacy is a testament to the idea that effective governance often requires difficult choices and compromises, a lesson that resonates in the halls of modern power. In reflecting on Otto von Bismarck's life, it is essential to acknowledge the complexities of his legacy. While he is celebrated for unifying Germany and modernizing its state apparatus, his methods were sometimes harsh and authoritarian. The legacy of his rule is a mixture of brilliant achievements and profound human costs, a duality that continues to spark debate among historians and scholars. Yet, it is precisely this complexity that makes Bismarck one of the most compelling figures in history. His life serves as a reminder that the pursuit of power, while fraught with peril, can also lead to transformative change that reshapes entire societies. Today, as we look back on the achievements of the Iron Chancellor, we see a leader who was not content with the status quo. Bismarck was a man who understood that the road to progress is often paved with difficult decisions and that true leadership sometimes requires sacrifices that go beyond the individual. His story is one of resilience, strategic brilliance, and the relentless drive to forge a united nation out of chaos. As our journey through the life of Otto von Bismarck comes to an end, we are reminded that history is made by those who dare to shape the world around them. Bismarck's legacy is not merely a record of military conquests or political maneuverings. It is the story of a man who, through vision and determination, transformed a fragmented region into a powerful and unified state. His achievements and the controversies surrounding his rule offer valuable insights into the nature of power and the enduring challenges of governance in a complex, ever-changing world. Thank you for joining us on this in-depth exploration of Otto von Bismarck's life and legacy. If you enjoyed this journey into one of history's most influential figures, please subscribe to History Facts and Mysteries and hit the notification bell so you never miss another episode. We invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. What aspect of Bismarck's leadership do you find most compelling, and how do you think his legacy continues to shape modern politics? Until next time, keep questioning the past and exploring the mysteries that continue to shape our world.